people have been conditioned to think that European beauty standards are what everyone should aspire to reach. You know, everybody needs to have straight hair, have this kind of hair. And I think they don't want that to change.
Dye it, cut it, or braid it. Throughout the ages, hair has become a symbol of beauty, and for many, it's more than just what's on top of your head. In the words of Shanna Alexander, an American journalist for Life magazine, hair brings one's self-image into focus. It is vanity's proving ground. Hair is terribly personal, a tangle of mysterious prejudices. And the wonderful thing about hair is the variety it possesses. Blonde, brunette, redheaded, short, mid-length, long, bone straight, wavy, curly, kinky. Every strand has a unique story to tell. With this said, hair should be nothing more than what's on your head, right? Unfortunately, this isn't so.
A story that's getting attention from all over the country tonight. A referee at a high school wrestling match in New Jersey told a wrestler he had to cut his dreadlocks or forfeit the match. So with the clock ticking, that wrestler, a teenager, chose to let the team trainer cut his hair. But that video is now sparking outrage and questions about that ref's decision.
That's right, and this post really has almost 4,000 shares at this point, all centered around these pictures you see here of these natural black hairstyles and haircuts deemed inappropriate by the school.
My daughter got this. Look at my daughter.
I know now. I don't want this to happen.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You don't care.
What's wrong with her hair?
All across the United States, stigmatizing this unique texture is becoming the new norm for many African Americans. Even children's shows from networks like Nickelodeon portray the natural curl of a black individual's hair as less than.
What am I gonna do now, huh? I'm sure I'll find a solution. What's happened that's so terrible? A catastrophe? What happened to my hair? Normally it's straight. I was just walking down the hall when, poof, my whole head of hair puffed up just like that.
So what exactly is stigma?
According to the book titled Stigma, Notes on the Management of Spoiled Identity by a Canadian-born sociologist named Irving Goffman, stigma is defined as an attribute that is deeply discrediting. Stigma can be debilitating to your physical health and even cause those who are being stigmatized to grow sick and perish quicker than those who aren't stigmatized.
Being natural myself, it dawned on me just how much discrimination and stigma people get just from being their natural selves. This prompted me to research the effects of stigma on the African American community. Are African Americans in 2019 still getting stigmatized in places like the workforce just for the hair on their head? Do those who wear natural or protective styles have a skewed view of beauty and ultimately skewed their identity? To answer these questions, I sought out the first stop of this journey, the relaxer.
Created by Garrett Morgan, an African American whose list of inventions include the traffic light and the modern gas mask, the relaxer's debut came out as a solution for the sewing machine problem. The young inventor ran a tailoring shop after creating this mixture for his predicament. He desired to push the limits of his new invention to the breaking point. Once he saw the straightening effects of applying his invention to his own curly hair, it was history. Thus, the relaxer was born.
I want style, body to shine, a look that's totally on mine. Hair so soft, silky and free. I want something just for me. Just for me. No my conditioning relaxer cream. Just for me. For combing and styling that's worry-free. K-U-S-E-F-R-M-E.
Try the Just For Me No Lie Conditioning Cream Relaxer System today, created in part by mothers,
Especially for their daughters.
by Proline.
Available at Revco.
Beautiful hair. Every woman's crowning touch. For years, we've trusted dark and lovely relaxers to give us just the look we want. Soft, easy to manage hair. Glorious sheen. Great body in all styles. With the quality and care that's a dark and lovely tradition, you can get the look of your life.
Hitting the market with a bang, millions of African American women traded their curly texture for straight strands of hair. Even men had a wave of usage for this newfound formula. In a blink of an eye, relaxed hair became the new standard for Black individuals. Until, of course, the research of the effects of relaxers rolled in. Thanks to documentaries like Good Hair, people could finally see what was really going into relaxers. Like a domino effect, African Americans started to leave the world of relaxers and entered back into the world of natural hair. Fast forwarding back to the present day, stigma has become quite an issue for African American community. In order to answer my questions of the stigma, I use 3 methodologies to collect my data: surveys, interviews, and thematic analysis. After gathering data from friends, family, college students, a plethora of videos from YouTube creators, and members of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated who had either natural or protective styles, the results of all 3 methods were surprising. I crafted my surveys with Google Forms to find out whether African Americans experience stigma and what their views were on beauty in America. The 15-question survey was composed using the Likert scale, with statements instead of questions and answers ranging from strongly agree to strongly disagree. In a number of days, a total of 51 people responded. When asked if there is a social stigma against African Americans who have natural or protective styles, a stunning 92.1% of individuals either strongly agreed or agreed with the statement. In fact, 52.9% of my respondents said that they've been stigmatized for their hair at some point. Since I was also interested to see if there is a possible correlation between the stigma and beauty, I asked if Eurocentric features are still today's standard in America, and with that, 84.4% of people agreed to some degree. Looking at these numbers, it became clear to me just how much more work needs to be done for America's societal beauty standards. Straight, shiny hair that flows with the wind has always been the peak of beauty in a woman's head. Clips and tutorials from the 1900s emphasize this point.
Most hairdressers spend their time and skill in trying to put curls into women's hair and keep them there long enough to justify all the talk about permanent waves. Here, at the British Colonist Club, we met a hair expert who does permanent waving in reverse. Her clients are all Africans. They're born with a permanent wave. But do they like it? They're women, aren't they? Round they come to Carmen, England, to be unpermed. Idea is to take out all the kinks in the hair and give it a permanent straightener.
Someone could argue that the lack of Black men and women in the media could drive this sort of belief, but even in the midst of relaxer boom, African Americans still voice the same message of the ideal look of beauty.
Your head, but soft, the way Ultrasheen can make it. And I'm going to do it right here on my very own hair. First, you have to start with relaxed hair, and that means a trip to the beauty shop to have your hair relaxed with this Ultrasheen Permanent Cream Relaxer. It's gentle, but it really works permanently. My hair has already been relaxed, so the next step is this.
This continuing belief that this is what beauty is and should be for every woman becomes dangerous when anyone seems to deviate from that standard. In some cases, African Americans are denied jobs just for the way that their hair is.
While looking for videos for my thematic analysis, I stumbled upon this clip from the daytime talk show, The Real. In this episode, where the topic of natural hair is discussed, Tamara Mowry Housley and Lonnie Love had some interesting stories to tell when it came to their luck with job finding and the appearance of their hair.
If you're thinking of wearing your hair natural, you may want to listen to this. A new study reveals that women who decide to embrace their natural hair really can face bias. Yeah, the Perception Institute conducted a good hair study, which showed photos of Black women with both natural and smooth hair. Now, the study found that a majority of people, regardless of race and gender, held some bias towards women of color based on their hair. The strongest bias of natural hair came from white women, who said that it was less sexy and less attractive.
See, I personally am going through this, and I went through it.
What do you mean?
On Sister Sister, my sister and I started out with naturally curly hair for like the first 3 seasons. And I didn't realize anything was wrong with my hair until I got older.
Because there wasn't anything wrong with it.
Right?
It was
right?
bomb.
I know.
Gorgeous.
But in the business, if I'm honest, after I passed a certain age, curly hair was just cute. It wasn't sexy. And then, oh, and see, there goes my curly-headed boy. But then, so when I would do photo shoots, movies, or commercials, you guys, literally the hairstylists wouldn't know what to do with it. Some hairstylists were even afraid to put their fingers in my head.
What?
I know, and so you can imagine growing up as, you know, a young woman coming into her own, feeling that, and it somewhat gives you, you know, low self-esteem. So for a while, my sister and I wore our hair straight because we thought, you know, it was
how much
sexier.
damage did your hair
and that's
get?
the reason why, you guys,
Protective styling.
Yes, I'm not afraid to say it. I wear lots of wigs because I have learned that when you straighten it too much, your hair actually gets damaged. I can remember, you guys, it was only maybe about 6-7 years ago. It's sad that it still goes on today. I went on an audition. I killed it. And I asked my manager, how come I didn't even get a call back? And the casting director said, well, she did a great job, but we couldn't get past her hair. It was such a distraction. So you can imagine me going, what the hell? You talking about who I am as a real person? Wait a minute. This is me. So you're saying me being me is a distraction?
Tam, when I have headshots. I need to bring those headshots.
Yeah.
We'll do a throwback. And when in my hair, it was little, I call it the little Esther roll afro. I could not get anything. I could not get booked. I mean, I would not get booked at all. And I was going in killing the auditions, but they would not book me. The minute I put some straight hair on, I got booked my first commercial. I got booked. So it's like sometimes you have to assimilate if you want to work.
That's
I mean,
so
do I not work or do I not
eat?
eat? How many sisters out there, I see you with your natural hair, have been judged? Round of applause.
With each interview I did, this same theme occurred.
How might you describe the attitude of society when it comes to African Americans and their hair?
I would say they're starting to get more welcoming, but there are some companies that are still, we prefer straight hair. Like if they have to choose between two candidates in the interview, they would most likely go with the girl with the wig or the permed hair, the straighter hair, versus the one that has her natural curls out.
I think society still has a ways to go. It's just that because you grow up in the media and you watch TV and it's like, you know, that European hairstyle is what you see on TV all the time in commercials and in TV shows, movies. That's what you see. That's starting to change as you have more diversity behind the camera. You're starting to see greater representation, but there's still a long ways to go. It's still predominantly that European style that you see, and that's what's shown as the standard. So I think society still has a ways to go to understand and accept that everybody looks different, and it's okay and it's acceptable. It should be celebrated.
I think there's still a stigma, although it is becoming more acceptable, because you know you had that big like wave where everybody was like, get off the creamy crack, get off the relaxers, and so I think it first seemed like it was a fad, and then it was like, oh, the trend, and now it's starting to become a little more commonplace. But I think it's more acceptable within our community now, and it seems like people outside of our community, when they are now trying to do or copy styles, they want to act like, oh, look what we just started doing. It's like, we've been doing that for decades, centuries. What are you talking about? So I think they still have a little ways to go to really, like, they don't want to give us credit because I guess they want to take credit for our hairstyle. I don't know. I think in a way, by them being able to take credit for it, then they can accept it. But if they can't take credit for it, then it's like they don't want to accept that it's really okay and just something else to do with your hair. But within our community, in fact, now it's almost like, oh, you still get relaxers? Really? Okay. Every 2 weeks? Every 6 weeks? Okay. Why? But okay. I mean, it's so common now to go places and seeing all variations of that natural hair. Even when I go to beauty stores and stuff, if I see the relaxers, like, oh, they do still sell this stuff, don't they? Okay.
I think there's still a lot of ignorance around it for non-African Americans when it comes to our hair. And like I said before, everything's an afro. They don't really get the different styles or designs, or they still feel the urge to want to touch it if they're not used to seeing it. So, but I do think the negativity has gotten a lot less. Like, people used to be a lot more negative and comment, a lot more ignorant, I would say, about black hair, natural hair, but I think it's gotten better. And I've never personally gotten any negative feedback from it. But, you know, in the past when we were younger, there was this comment of good hair. And in my mind, good hair is healthy hair. It doesn't matter if it's thick as cotton, straight, curly. If it's healthy, it's good. And people of all races would say that too. And I think now, as African Americans or black people, we've gotten away from using the term good hair, especially us naturals, realizing that it's good no matter what.
And I had my hair through all of my adolescence, so really like my hair is like a part of me and who I am. I definitely felt like there was almost like a certain stereotype put with me. And not even in terms of like how I would act, but just certain hygiene things, because, you know, people think dreadlocks or locks, they're like, oh, poor hygiene, his hair stinks, all that other stuff. I've had comments said to me such as, oh, your hair smells really good, like that's really surprising, or like, oh my gosh, you could do that with your hair, or your hair is so neat, oh my gosh. So I think I've been, I guess, discriminated against, or certain labels have been placed on me due to me having locks. But I think there are a lot of social norms that still sort of favor very traditional hairstyles when it comes to African-American styles. Even in terms of like, you know, the Disney look. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like the Disney College program and like some of the things that they put on to their employees. Like, it's still a very traditional, and I won't even say traditional, it's a very unrealistic look for people of color and people with a certain type of hair. While I think it's evolving, I think there are a lot of just constructs still in place that cater towards unrealistic expectations for African-American hair.
The attitude of society, I think, still needs a little work. I think we've come a long way, because when I was younger, if I were to talk about going natural or locking my hair, my family probably would have had a lot to say about it. But I think it's becoming more positive. I think we got quite a bit of work to do still. I just saw this article about a little girl who couldn't like wear braids or something for her school pictures. I think it's getting there.
Over and over again, I was seeing the effects of stereotypes of natural hair being displayed in the workforce.
With employers aligning themselves with this thinking, they could affect not only African Americans who's trying to get the job, but also the person's family. Imagine if each household is getting this treatment. That would mean that the community is being intentionally denied good-paying jobs, all because of the appearance of their hair. Because of this one continuous act, hundreds upon hundreds of African Americans are at risk of living paycheck to paycheck and not even getting paid the minimum wage.
4 recurring themes appear throughout the thematic analysis process: misconceptions, minding one's own business, a preference in hair texture within the natural hair community, and the need for education.
Start off, I would say the most common is like people saying, oh, your hair is so dry and nappy, when really it's not. If you use the right products that cater to your hair type or your texture or whatever, your hair is as easy and manageable as relaxer as well, or Caucasian hair, whatever.
I think another one would be like the whole stereotype that when you're natural, you're like soul sister.
I think another one for relaxers is that we're trying to be white. Yes. When it's really, it has nothing to do with that at all.
I'm just gonna read you off some of the ones that I have found by doing some research. So natural stereotypes are earthy, black power, activist, radical, woke, rebellious, unmanageable hair, and natural Nazis.
The stereotypes associated with natural hair is that natural hair doesn't grow, natural hair is hard,
tree hugger,
earthy, in tune with nature.
Don't shave your armpits. I get a lot of that.
Socially conscious.
Afrocentric. Black power, activist. You know, maybe you're a little bit more militant, or you might not be a conformist.
Super radical. Woke.
Rebellious. That you use a lot of products, which is which can be true.
Natural hair sometimes strikes me as being youthful.
Women in my generation, when they see this kind of hair, it's like, this is what we're running from when you're going back to that.
It's unprofessional.
Some of the stereotypes that I received when I had relaxed hair were that I'm an Oreo.
You're not black if you relax your hair.
I'm trying to be white or trying to be another ethnicity.
I don't want lighter skin. I don't want to make my hair blonde. Why aren't I at least trying to be Indian or something? Like, why is it white?
You don't love yourself. Insecure.
You hate yourself.
That you're bougie, that you're uppity.
Superficial.
Just really big on appearances.
There's like this unspoken judgment on girls who decide to get weaves or wigs or braids or whatever they want to get in their hair that isn't 100% natural. Like there's this secret judgment against them. Like, no.
Natural hair is constantly seen as messy, dry, and sheep-like, while relaxed hair is seen as clean, smooth, and manageable. As the stereotypes of natural hair and relaxed hair surface, so will the division of the two groups. So much stigma surrounding African American hair can create a skewed view of Black person's worth and identity, and this can surely spread throughout the Black community.
In fact, when I looked over the results of my survey, I was surprised to see that nearly 8% of individuals weren't glad that their hair wasn't relaxed, and that 3.9% of participants felt less than because of their natural hair. Though the numbers were small, this is still proof that the stigma is changing the way Black individuals see themselves and their worth.
Like as I said before, like this unspoken judgment against girls that decide to wear weaves all the time or wigs all the time. Like if you're someone who wears wigs all the time, that's good for you. Do you. If you're someone who wants to wear weaves, that's great. If you want to get braids, that's great. If you want to be natural all the time, that's great. What I consider being part of the natural hair movement is just having natural hair. Like I have natural hair, but right now it's currently in a protective style. It's like if you're not rocking a 5 by 4 foot wide afro and having your hand up like this at all times, you're not part of the natural hair movement. And I know that that's like an exaggeration, but you know what I mean? It's like,
it's yours. That's what God gave you. It's a present. It's a gift. And whether you love it right now or not, it's yours. And that's what grows out of your head. And you need to learn how to embrace it, if you want. But in my experience, the rewards, they're worth it. It's me. This is me. And I'm very proud of that. And to know that I have kinky hair, which is not as well represented and not as well loved or embraced, and I still pull off cute looks, lady, it's well worth it.
African Americans simply want to wear their hair in any form and not receive backlash, just like any other ethnicity. Although the natural hair community seems to be a haven, there are some issues that need to be dealt with, namely hair texture.
Black people don't like black hair. We want to talk so nicely about Black women, right? Oh my gosh, I love black hair. Yes, queen, wear your natural hair. Yes, queen, I love your curls. Yes, natural hair this, natural hair that. I love the natural hair movement. It's so popular, right? But here's the funny thing. Y'all love Black women's hair when it's loose. Y'all love Black women's hair when it's 4A and 4B, but let it be 4C and the whole world is outraged. Y'all love Black women's hair, right? But the only time you don't like Black women's hair that much is when it's 4C. Y'all don't like black hair on Black women. But if I was a man, my hair is acceptable. But since I'm a woman, my 4C hair is appalling.
I never really said like, oh, I'm in the natural hair movement. Like, I guess I am, but I never would really talk about it because to me there were just so many problems with it. I feel like definitely not everyone, obviously not everyone, but a lot of these girls, a big chunk of these girls will judge each other's hair on the low, like who has the best hair, who has the biggest afro, who has the bounciest curls. Like, it's so stupid.
There are so many results, but where are we on your pages? Why aren't we being discussed? Why aren't we being showcased? I'm just saying, we use your products too. Us 4C girls need love too.
Thankfully, this desire for looser curls is getting smaller over time. However, in order to truly get past the stigma, natural hair movement, and American society will will have to solve this misconception of what good hair looks like. Despite the lack of acceptance for natural hair in the workforce, however, African Americans won't be tempted to conform to societal standards.
In fact, 72.5% of my survey participants said that they wouldn't relax their hair in order to get a higher position in a job. With this kind of stance being taken in the growing natural hair community, I was curious to see if this change was leading to more confidence in these individuals. After all, over half of my survey respondents said that their hair is closely tied to their identity. Interestingly enough, an astounding 74.5% of people agreed to the statement. The natural hair movement has sparked countless organizations and festivals to celebrate African American hair in various cities around the world. And a few months ago, I was able to attend one of these events in Atlanta. As I walked through the grounds of Curlfest, I was able to see just how empowering and meaningful this movement is for African Americans. According to Brittany Chambers of Forbes magazine, festivals like Curlfest bring in 35,000 attendants annually and holds approximately 21 billion social impressions. Young and old alike, these movements are reshaping the way Black individuals see themselves and are redefining the societal standard of beauty. So what exactly is the solution to this stigma? Should there be more festivals like Curlfest? Should the nation follow in step with New York and California and place a ban on discriminating African American hair?
I think it should be education based. I think when you put a law on something, it forces a level of rebellion that wouldn't be there if we started with education first.
You gotta start at the top, because when people at the top want it and see it, it's gonna come down to everybody else. So if we want more inclusivity, something's gotta give at the administrative level.
Education seems to be the only way that society will learn to embrace its unique texture. Only when more research is done for this area and more knowledge is acquired will the stigmatizing grasp of natural hair and the skewed view of beauty will be broken.
At the end of the day, African Americans will continue the journey where they can wear their hair in any way that they want and not be surrounded by stigma or have their identity and beauty skewed. It's also up to every individual of every ethnicity to decide for themselves if they will continue to believe the outdated belief that beautiful hair comes from one type of strand.
What will be your
standard?